Hi, let's talk about stream of consciousness. Welcome to this lesson. My name is Harshit Bharadwaj, and I'm going to give you a very short, between 3 to 4 minutes, quick snippet on this very confusing but very critical term called stream of consciousness. So let's see what's all the fuss about. As it says, this is you're going to get anywhere between 20 to 60 marks in paper 2. It can come directly or it can come as part of the prescribed text. So this is why is it important at all? It is important because there are four prescribed texts in the syllabus where stream of consciousness is a very important factor. So first is James Joyce's A Portrait of Artist as a Young Man. James Joyce was one of the foremost proponent of this narrative technique. Then the Virginia Woolf, Mrs. Dolly Dalloway. Then this is T.S. Eliot, and surprisingly, stream of consciousness or interior monologue, as some people prefer to call it, but they are two different things. T.S. Eliot's poem, the love song of Alfred Prufrock, has elements of interior monologue. And this is D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers. So these four texts are directly or indirectly related to stream of consciousness. So a question can come. So you will at least have one direct question and one indirect question. So you're looking at between 20 to 60 marks. So it's very critical. So what is it anyway? What is stream of consciousness? So the term was initially coined by a psychologist by the name of William James. Now, William James is the brother of famous novelist Henry James. So if you've read Henry James' books, one of the most famous books was The Turn of the Screw, a very early proponent of modernism. So in his book, The Principles of Psychology, William James is talking about stream of consciousness like this. It is nothing joined, it flows. A river or a stream is the metaphors by which it is most naturally described. In talking of it hereafter, let's call it the stream of thought, consciousness, or a subjective life. This quotation has actually come in a question paper probably last year or the year before. I don't remember exactly, but this exact quote has come more than once. So the quote comes, and then they ask you to give your short note on it. So it was 15 marks question. So you need to understand what it means. So you'll have to, the starting point of preparing for stream of consciousness is this quote. So the stream of consciousness writing is usually regarded as a special form of interior monologue and is characterized by associative leaps in thought and lack of some or all punctuation. So stream of consciousness is not interior monologue, which we'll see in the next stream. So stream of consciousness is when a character when the narrative is following a character's thought, internal thoughts, and the thoughts are flowing in the free flow. So it's like Robert Foster said, playing tennis with the net down. So there are often rules of grammar and the language are ignored, as you will see in James Joyce's instance. So this is what it means. It's associated leaps in thought and lack of some or all punctuation. So interior monologue is is simply a technique in which you are being told about what the character is thinking, but the language is still consistent with the language of the text, right? But stream of consciousness, you can identify stream of consciousness when the language suddenly shifts, right? So that's why it's a very tricky technique to master. Now, this is a question in itself. Some people call stream of consciousness as interior monologue, but these are two different things. So Oxford Dictionary, these are two very good definitions: Oxford Dictionary of Literary Terms and Encyclopedia Britannica. So you need to remember these two definitions when tackling a question on this. So they can also be distinguished psychologically and literally. In a psychological sense, a stream of consciousness is the subject matter. This is important, while interior monologue is the technique for presenting it. So as I said, it's what the character is thinking. So when you try to get as close as describing exactly what a character is thinking, it becomes stream of consciousness, it becomes the subject matter. So when you're thinking, often the rules of grammar and language do not apply, right? So when it's interior monologue, it's a technique for presenting. Okay. Another definition is, these terms are often used interchangeably. While an interior monologue may mirror all the half thoughts, impressions, and associations that impinge upon the character's uh, consciousness, it may also be restricted to an organized presentation of that character's rational thoughts. So, interior monologue is an organized presentation of that character's rational thoughts. That's the difference. Stream of consciousness is not organized, right? And the thoughts are not rational thoughts. That's the difference. In stream of consciousness is like a river or a stream. It can flow anywhere. Nothing is joined. That proves that it's not organized. It's not rational, and it's subjective life. Okay, so that is the difference. You need to understand the difference. However, the both the terms are used loosely interchangeably. So the examiner might be talking about interior monologue and use it with stream of consciousness, but you need to know the difference. It's very important. Now, which texts have the instances of stream of consciousness? Joyce in Ulysses, which is not part of the syllabus, but Ulysses is a masterpiece of this technique. And of course, in A Portrait of the Artist is a Young Man, there are several instances where stream of consciousness paragraphs can be found. Then, of course, in Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse, this is not in the syllabus. Now, interior monologue is specifically used in the love song of Alfred J. Prufrock. Now, as I said before, interior monologue is more organized and rational arrangement of thoughts. That's what this poem, because it's a poem. It's objectively arranged. It's well organized. So that's why it's not stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is mostly a prose thing, prose narrative device. It's in Sons and Lovers. Dorothy Richardson's Pilgrimage was one of the first texts to showcase this technique successfully. And of course, in William Faulkner, The Sound and the Fury. These are some of the texts where stream of consciousness has been used and mastered. So if there is a question about where and example, this is where it has been used. Now let's read out an example from Mrs. Dalloway, which is part of the syllabus. What a lark! What a plunge! So it always seemed to me when, with a little squeak of the hinges, which I can hear now, I burst open the French windows and plunged at Burton into the open air. How fresh, how calm, stiller than this, of course. The air was in the early morning, like the flap of a wave, the kiss of a wave, chill and sharp, and yet, for a girl of 18 as I then was, solemn, feeling as I did, standing there at the open window, that something awful was about to happen. This is stream of consciousness. As you can see, it just it's following the flow of thought. So when the consciousness of the narrator is just flowing like a river from burst open the French windows, I plunged at Burton into the open air. So the character plunged. Physically she didn't, but she's thinking. This is, if you can remember the whole quote, this is fantastic. Otherwise, this quote itself can come in the unseen passages. So this is a stream of consciousness quote. This is what they're looking for. If this quote comes, and there are three or four other quotes from Mrs. Dalloway, then you need to know what this is. Okay, thanks for watching. If there are more questions, it's a vast topic, but this is what the basic understanding of stream of consciousness is. This is Harshit Bharadwaj signing out from this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching.